Hey, first period. Welcome to what I call SGT time with Sergeant Rod. Anytime we do this flipped classroom, I call it SGT time. That's something students from a couple years ago came up with, and I liked it, so I'm sticking with it. What we're going to go over, at least in this first video, is part of the slideshow that I was not able to cover with you guys last Thursday. So I actually went over this with my 8th period class. So if you were there for 8th period, everything I'm going to show you in the slideshow you've already seen. First period did not see it. So if you're 8th period, you can just pause here unless you want to go through it again and head over to video 2. But for you guys, first period, I want you to go ahead and watch this. So one of the things is that now you guys are in 9th grade. I like to compare social studies in 7th and 8th grade to social studies in 9th grade. All right, because there's people like to use the word history when they describe social studies, right? They say I'm taking a history class or I'm taking a social studies class. They're actually not the same thing. All right, and we'll kind of get into the differences there, but I do want to say that in 7th and 8th grade, you did learn geography. It was part of the curriculum. You just learned it through the lens of history. So you would work with maps like the one that you're seeing on the slideshow right now, right? So this is a map of the United States at a particular point in history. It is not the United States today. It only existed, this was the United States from about 1861 until 1865. So this is a map, and so it's got the things on a map that we have, you know, like a legend. And on this one, and that's actually all it has. But it's a political map, and it's a reference map. So you would learn geography through the lens of history. Oops. Moving on. Okay. In this class, though, the focus of this class is in history. The focus of this class is geography. So in this class, you're going to learn, instead of learning geography through history, what you're going to learn is a bunch of other things through geography, right? Particularly, you're going to learn culture. You're going to learn economics, you're going to learn government, and you will learn some history. And so if this was like the example of a map that you would have seen in 7th or 8th grade, these are the kind of maps that we use in geography class, all right? You see a political map of Africa and then an alternate Africa with borders based primarily on native lingua francas, all right? It's one of our vocab words. Oops. Okay, never mind. All right, so I'm going to ask, what is world geography? So world geography takes students on a journey around the world in which they will learn about the physical and human geography of various regions. All right, so you guys will learn actually a little bit of human geography in this class. You chose to take this one and not human geography, but there will be a unit, right? We have 6 units that we go over in this class, and one of those units will be fully over human geography. So if we look at the difference, right, 2 types of geography, physical and human. Physical geography deals with the planet's natural features and processes. So think of this, right? You see mountains, you see glaciers, rivers, tributaries, hills, plains, estuaries, right? And so in physical geography, this is the kind of stuff that you would study. Human geography, though, understands that humans have influenced and altered the planet so much that there is no longer such a thing as natural features and processes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to pause the video for a second. All right, so if this was an example of physical geography, right, something like this would be an example of human geography. Or you can see there's nothing natural about this spot on planet Earth, right? The shape of it is not natural. Obviously, and actually there was, if you go back into time, there was a point when all of this was just water. So humans built every part of this for, human purposes, right? So there's other things that I said on the list, right? So geography, we can use geography to teach us about a lot of different things, right? One of the things we can use geography for is to teach us about politics. Right? Here you see the border between 2 countries, right? The Dominican Republic on one side and Haiti on the other, right? Now, something is going on between these 2 countries that makes them different, and geography can help us understand what that is. Geography can teach us about economics, right? You see here, I believe this is a bicycle, because I'm looking at the chain. It says designed in the U.S., but made in China, all right? And so this is always, this has always been one of those things that you kind of taken for granted your whole life and never thought to ask, how economically does it make sense to, if Americans are who designed this, why would we have it assembled across the ocean, right? Wouldn't it be more expensive to have it built in China, and then shipped here? Okay, I'm back. A member of my family continues to walk behind me, even though I've told him not to. So he shouldn't be doing that again. Anyways, yeah, so geography can teach us about politics. It could teach us about economics. Geography can teach us about culture, right? Yeah, you guys can see this right here. This is, if I had to ask you, where do you think this picture was taken, which I did ask my 8th period class, the answers I heard were Switzerland, Norway, one person said Russia, but the actual answer is Aruba. Now, some of you guys might have been to Aruba and you might know, because it's popular to go there for cruises. But Aruba, if you go back in time, Aruba was actually founded by the Dutch, who are from Netherlands. So that is why the architecture in Aruba looks like the same architecture that you would find in Europe. All right, but geography can tell us this because geography can teach us about culture. And of course, geography can teach us about history, right? So this is something else that's not natural, though it looks pretty natural, right? I mean, these are popping out of the ground. But the people who created this, I'm actually not too, I'm going to be honest, as a history teacher, I'm not too familiar with who created the heads at Easter Island. And I'm not positive whether they're still around, but if they're not, they did exist at one point in history. So geography can tell us about history because we can learn, the cultures of people who used to exist before us. All right. I also want to say that geography can help save the planet. So we are going through a crisis right now, planet Earth, that we haven't been through in at least 100 years, which is that we have an incurable disease that is unfortunately highly infectious. And we can use maps like this map of Texas to kind of determine where are the hot spots, right? Where is the disease spreading most, right? And you could see it based on this map, right? So in some ways, geography can help us save the planet. In other ways, we say that geography has the potential to unfortunately destroy the planet. And so the favorite example I like to use is the Middle East. I told you that I was a soldier. Which you can see here is I have one spot in the Red Sea, which is where you can imagine a United States aircraft carrier in the water. And you have Baghdad, Iraq. And the two locations that are on that map, you can see the arrows pointing to them. We can say that those locations are 500 miles apart. And so from this location, the Red Sea, the U.S. military is going to launch what we call a bunker buster bomb, which travels at 500 miles per hour. So I asked my 8th period, right, to do the math. If they are 500 miles away and it travels at 500 miles per hour, how long will it take until it reaches its target? I'll give you a second to think about it. The answer is 1 hour. But the thing is, Earth in a 24-hour period rotates 24 times, right? So if you're trying to aim a bunker buster bomb at this location right here, and you want it to hit that exact building, you would actually have to aim it somewhere you don't want it to hit, knowing that within an hour, the Earth will have rotated up to the point that the building directly aligns with the bunker buster bomb that you've aimed at it. So math here, right, in addition to geography, if you want to bring in math, you have to get the math correct on this. Otherwise, you will kill innocent people. So the United States military spends a lot of time making sure that we do not do that. And in this class, you'll learn all about how exactly we can do that, right? Because warfare is highly specialized and very lethal. This is another way I like to say that geography is kind of destroying the planet. I'll let you guys decide on your own what you believe. On March 14th of last year, just after midnight, the killer slowly followed a bicyclist down this street in Arizona. A blurry shot. Oops. Oh, darn it. I messed it up because I touched the screen. Okay. Blurry video showed shots being fired from a white Honda as the man was gunned down outside his home, but the police had no other leads. There were no known witnesses to the crime, except Google, right? Google managed to know something that nobody else knew, which was where this killer was going, where this killer had been. If you don't believe me, I decided to look up the data. This is from my own Google history, right? On April 28th of 2019, I went apparently from my house down to the Parks of Texas Star for a soccer game for my daughter. And then later that day, she also had a birthday party, not her own. She was not born. She went to a friend's birthday party in Bicentennial Park in Southlake. And Google knew where I was at all moments. This was another one from June 30th. I guess there was another soccer game at Blue Sky Sports Center, and we ate at Babe's Chicken. And so when it comes to climate change, I like to say that geography is both destroying and saving the planet, right? Humans are destroying the planet. You could see wildfires in California. You could see shrinking glaciers in Alaska. But we're also, because we're pretty innovative, we can help save the planet. So, Leo, enough. You can see here in the Netherlands, ways that they're coming up with kind of keeping the ocean from rising and flooding their homes. All right. And lastly, another way that human geography is helping to save the planet. Think of in Massachusetts, I believe, Massachusetts or Rhode Island, one of them, you have the oldest historical buildings in the entire United States. These buildings have existed since, I believe, the 1650s or late 1600s. So incredibly old. They are at risk of flooding now. The flooding is increasing every year, and people are trying to come up with ways to preserve them and to save them. And here are 3 engineering ideas that people have. One of them is to do a floodwater tank, right? Where you kind of just allow the water to just seep very deep underneath the structure. One is to just enlarge the storm water pipes that exist in the city. That would be insanely expensive. And the third is to put the entire home on a flotation device, and when the water comes in, the home just literally lifts into the air. So yeah, as the geography of the planet changes, humans are going to have to become very innovative at meeting these changes. And that's it. So this is something that we would have gone over on Thursday, but unfortunately I messed up, and we covered homework for 10 minutes that you guys didn't even have. So this is your introduction to Pre-AP World Geography, and after this I want you to watch the next video, which will actually have something for you guys to do.